All right, everyone get ready because today we are going deep on Harry Ferguson.
Harry Ferguson.
You might know the Ferguson tractor, but I
Yeah.
bet you don't know the whole story about this guy.
Right.
This guy was an aviation pioneer,
Wow.
partnered with Henry Ford,
Really?
and even took him to court.
Oh my God.
We've got a whole bunch of sources here, biography articles, some website material, all to uncover the story behind the man who made the iconic machine.
What I think is so fascinating about Ferguson is he's just a serial innovator. Like,
Yeah.
he wasn't content with just one field. He was constantly like trying to solve problems and improve things no matter what it was.
Yeah, and it's interesting because he starts out, this guy grows up on a 100-acre farm in Ireland.
Wow.
But instead of tending the crops, he's obsessed with engines.
It's like a light bulb moment waiting to happen.
Yeah, it really is.
You know, like growing up, like that probably gave him such a good understanding of farmers' needs.
Right.
And, you know, firsthand the challenges they face. And you can really see that in his later innovations.
And he's not just dreaming about it at 14.
Oh, wow.
He leaves the farm to go work in his brother's garage in Belfast and even starts attending night classes.
That self-motivation is like a recurring theme in his life.
Totally.
He was always eager to learn and then apply that knowledge.
Okay. But it gets even better.
Oh, no.
This guy doesn't just tinker with engines. He builds and flies his own plane in 1909.
Wow.
This is like the dawn of aviation.
Right.
And he becomes the first person to achieve heavier-than-air flight in Ireland.
That's incredible.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, the guts it must have taken.
Boy,
That really speaks to his fearlessness, his willingness to take those risks. And those are traits that would define his career.
totally.
They even have a replica of that plane at the Ulster Folk and Transport Museum.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay, so he's a flying farmer.
right.
Where do tractors fit into all of this?
Well, World War I comes along, and suddenly there's this huge need to boost food production with fewer people available to work the land. So this really pushes tractors to the forefront.
But the tractors and plows at the time
Yeah.
were just clunky and inefficient.
Yeah.
And I think that's where Ferguson's experience with horses and engines
Yeah.
gives him this huge advantage.
It's like he understands the problem from both sides.
Totally.
He sees that simply hitching a plow to a tractor isn't enough.
Yeah.
His vision is to create a system where the tractor and plow work together seamlessly.
Yes.
Almost like they're extensions of each other.
And that's where the famous Ferguson system comes in.
Exactly.
He introduces the three-point linkage in hydraulics.
Yes.
Now, for those of us who aren't engineers, can you break down why these were so groundbreaking?
Well, imagine a traditional plow being dragged behind a tractor.
Okay.
It's unstable, prone to tipping over, especially on uneven ground.
Right.
Ferguson's three-point linkage changed all that.
Okay.
It attached the plow to the tractor at 3 points, creating this triangle shape
Okay.
that transferred the weight of the plow directly to the tractor's wheels.
So it's more like the plows part of the tractor, not just being dragged along.
Precisely.
Okay.
This made the tractor much more stable and safer, especially on smaller farms with hilly terrain.
Right.
Farmers could now work on steeper slopes and handle heavier loads without worrying about the tractor tipping over.
That's incredible.
And then there are the hydraulics.
Yeah, those sound pretty important.
Before hydraulics, you'd have to manually adjust the plow's depth and angle,
Right.
which was so time-consuming and laborious.
Yeah.
Ferguson's hydraulic system allowed farmers to control the plow with incredible precision,
Wow.
using levers right from the tractor seat.
So it's all about making the tractor easier and more efficient to use.
Exactly.
Genius.
It was a game changer.
And the crazy thing is these innovations are still used in tractors today.
I know, it's amazing.
Talk about a lasting impact.
It really highlights how Ferguson's focus was on solving practical problems for farmers.
Right.
He didn't care about flashy inventions. He wanted to create tools that would make their lives easier and more productive.
Yeah, and his next move is a big one. He teams up with none other than Henry Ford.
Oh, wow.
It's like a meeting of the titans.
It is.
But instead of lawyers and contracts, they seal the deal with a simple handshake.
A handshake that would eventually lead to one of the most famous lawsuits in the history of agriculture.
Oh, no.
But before we get to that,
Okay.
let's talk about the success of this partnership.
Okay.
They started mass producing the Ford Ferguson tractor,
Okay.
which was a game changer for farmers around the world.
Okay, so we've got flying machines, revolutionary tractors, and now a partnership with Henry Ford.
Right.
What could possibly go wrong?
Well, as you might guess, a handshake agreement can only go so far,
Oh.
especially when you're dealing with two strong personalities and a rapidly evolving industry.
Sounds like trouble is brewing.
Yeah. You see, after Henry Ford passed away, the agreement between Ford and Ferguson was challenged by the Ford Company. And, well, let's just say things got a little heated, culminating in a full-blown lawsuit.
So what exactly went down? Did Ford try to pull a fast one?
Essentially, Ferguson accused Ford of patent infringement,
Okay.
claiming they were using his designs without permission.
So he's saying, hey,
Yeah,
you're ripping me off.
exactly.
Got it.
It was a classic David versus Goliath scenario.
Right.
This independent inventor
Yeah.
taking on a corporate giant.
Wow, talk about high stakes. Did he win?
He did, but victory came with a bitter aftertaste.
Wow.
The financial settlement, while significant, fell short of what Ferguson believed he was owed.
It almost makes you wonder if he ever regretted that initial handshake agreement with Ford.
Yeah.
It's like the age-old dilemma. Do you go it alone or partner with someone more powerful but risk losing control?
It's a tough call.
Yeah.
On one hand, that partnership allowed Ferguson to mass-produce his tractors and reach a global market.
Right.
But on the other hand, it ultimately led to this legal battle.
Right.
And a sense that he didn't get his full due.
But regardless of the lawsuit, there's no denying the legacy of those iconic gray tractors.
Yeah.
Built in Coventry after he split from Ford.
Right.
I mean, they were nicknamed the Wee Grey Fergie in Ireland
Yeah.
and Loup to D in France.
I love that.
These names alone suggest global reach.
Absolutely. Those tractors became a symbol of modern, efficient farming around the world.
Yeah.
And that's because Ferguson was adamant about keeping them simple and affordable.
Right.
He wanted to make sure that his innovations were accessible to farmers of all means, not just the wealthy ones.
He wasn't just an inventor. He was a champion for small farmers.
Yeah, he really was.
That's pretty remarkable.
It is.
But, digging through all these sources,
Yeah,
I'm struck by how Ferguson's ambition went far beyond just tractors.
that's right. Throughout his life, he was a vocal advocate for using technology to tackle poverty and hunger.
Really?
He truly believed that efficient farming could lead to increased food production
Right.
and ultimately a better world.
It's inspiring to see that kind of social conscience combined with mechanical genius.
It's amazing.
It really makes you think about the potential of innovation to solve some of those global problems.
Yeah.
But let's shift gears a bit
Mm.
and talk about the man himself.
Okay.
What kind of person was Harry Ferguson?
From what we can gather, he was a complex character.
Oh.
Brilliant and driven, no doubt,
Right.
but also known to be demanding and difficult to work with.
Oh.
It's a reminder that even the most successful individuals
Yeah.
are multifaceted.
I guess nobody's perfect, right?
Exactly. And there's also a tinge of sadness to his story as well.
Oh.
Despite all his achievements,
Yeah.
he struggled with bouts of depression.
That's always so heartbreaking to hear. It's a reminder that success doesn't always equal happiness.
Yeah. And his death in 1960 from a barbiturate overdose was ruled an open verdict,
Oh, wow.
which leaves some lingering questions about the circumstances surrounding his final days.
It's a somber reminder that even brilliant minds
Yeah.
can be vulnerable.
Abs-
But let's focus on the positive.
Yeah.
His legacy is undeniable. He didn't just build tractors.
Right.
He transformed agriculture.
He did. And his story continues to resonate today. Back in his homeland, he's remembered with blue plaques marking his birthplace and workshops.
Oh, wow.
There's even an engineering village named after him.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And those wee gray Fergies have become collector's items.
Yeah.
It's a testament to their enduring impact. It's fascinating to think that these humble machines
Yeah.
were once a common sight in fields all over the world,
Right.
and now they're treasured possessions.
It speaks to the power of innovation to capture the imagination
Yeah.
and inspire a sense of nostalgia.
Totally. But as we've been exploring his life,
Yeah.
it's important to acknowledge that history is rarely black and white.
Right.
There are always multiple perspectives and complexities to consider.
Absolutely.
What do you mean? Are you saying there are downsides to Ferguson's innovations?
Not necessarily downsides,
Okay.
but unintended consequences, perhaps. Some argue that the rapid mechanization of agriculture,
Right.
while increasing efficiency, also had social and environmental impacts.
Can you elaborate on that?
Well, for instance, the increased use of tractors led to the displacement of some farm laborers.
Right.
And large-scale mechanized farming can have environmental consequences, such as soil erosion and the increased use of pesticides.
So it's important to look at the whole picture.
Yeah.
considering both the positive and potentially negative consequences of technological advancements.
Exactly. Progress isn't always a straight line.
Right.
There are often trade-offs and unintended consequences that we need to be mindful of.
Right.
But overall, Ferguson's impact on the world was undeniably positive.
He dared to imagine a world where technology could empower farmers and help address global hunger.
He did.
That's a legacy worth celebrating.
It is.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground today, from his early days as a mad mechanic to his global impact on agriculture. What a journey.
It's been fascinating to delve into the life of such a complex and influential figure.
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty inspired.
I have to admit, Ferguson's unwavering belief in the power of innovation is contagious.
All right, before we wrap up this deep dive, I have a final thought-provoking question for our listeners.
Go for it.
Imagine a world where Harry Ferguson never dedicated his life to making farming more efficient and accessible.
Okay.
How might the global food system be different today?
Wow.
How might rural communities and economies have evolved differently?
That's a great question to ponder.
It really highlights the ripple effect that one person's actions can have on the world.
It does.
And it reminds us that innovation can come from unexpected places. Sometimes all it takes is one person with a vision
Right.
and the determination to make it a reality. Yeah, it really makes you wonder, what would the world look like if those wee gray Fergies had never rolled off the assembly line?
It's a really interesting question to think about. Would we be facing all the same agricultural challenges?
Right.
Would farmers in developing countries even have access to the same tools and technologies?
And it's not just about the tractors themselves.
Right.
It's that spirit of innovation that Ferguson embodied, that drive to solve those problems,
Yeah.
to push the boundaries, to really make a difference in the world.
He's a great reminder that innovation isn't limited to, laboratories and research institutions.
Right.
It can come from a farm, a small garage, like anyone with a curious mind and a willingness to just challenge the way things are.
Right. And he didn't wait for somebody else to fix the problem
Yeah,
that he saw.
exactly.
He just rolled up his sleeves and got to work.
Yeah,
And that's a powerful message
it is.
for all of us, no matter what field we're in.
Yeah, whether you're tinkering with engines or, developing new software, or even just trying to improve a process at work,
Right.
that same spirit of innovation can lead to some incredible breakthroughs.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the life and legacy of Harry Ferguson,
Yeah.
I want to leave you with this thought. What other unsung heroes of innovation are out there?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Waiting to be discovered, whose stories are waiting to be told?
That's the beauty of all this, isn't it? There's always more to learn,
Always.
more connections to make.
Yep. So keep exploring, keep asking those questions. And who knows, maybe you'll stumble upon the next Harry Ferguson hiding in plain sight.
Maybe you'll be inspired and become an innovator yourself.
Yeah.
Tackle those challenges of our time
That's right.
and leave your own mark on the world.
Until next time, keep diving deep.